Midjourney version 5 is insane. It's an image generation AI that came out last month, and it is amazing. And before I teach you how to use it, which I will do in in a video very soon, I just want to show you first some examples of just how powerful it is. So look at this: a handsome male entrepreneur with short styled hair, neat beard, blah blah blah. All this text. Rising sun casts a slight golden glow in the scene. This is AI generated. They look so real. Now, there are points where you can see it's wrong. Look, the CN Tower is way too fat. But for the most part, images are amazing. Look, this one looks very real. You can give it images to blend in, but sometimes it gets tricky if there's too many elements, and it's not good with text. So if you look closely at the text, it's gibberish. So it's not going to be able to, it doesn't understand text. Let's skip through. You can give it, if you give it hot dog, it's going to give you the food. If you give it hot, : to dog, it's going to give you a dog that's hot, emphasis on hot, because the to is a weight. So by default, everything is 1. But here I'm saying 2 for hot. So that's why the dog is basically on fire, because hot plays twice as much importance than dog. I did the same thing with cold cat. Romania. So you give it something vague, it's going to try different options, like sometimes in the city, sometimes out in the country. All of these look very real, but they are AI generated. Again here, white ragdoll kitten with blue eyes resting on flowers, cute and adorable. Look how real that looks. Websites. So it gets websites like pretty good. But the UI and UX, it's just the text is just complete gibberish. Medieval winter landscape. So this one was interesting. I was thinking more of a picture, like a photograph, but Midjourney's smart and knows photographs were around back then. So it drew us a painting in the style of that time. So it understands context as well. You can upload images and then give it a prompt and like blend that image with the text prompt. So this is like, I think I gave it me with a cat with blue eyes, which, as you can see, the face isn't really like me. Vaguely, the hair, like the hair and facial hair resembles me, but the face, not really. I think you have to do a lot of finagling to get the person to actually look like you. I also didn't give it the best image, bit blurry. You can give it a prompt in the style of an artist it knows, and it's going to copy that style. So this is an architect. So I said a brownstone in the style of this architect or artists. Now, it doesn't know like every artist, but there are lists online that you can find like, okay, what artists is Midjourney trained on, where if you give it in the style of that artist, it's going to give you actually something cohesive that it knows. So yeah, it's very easy to just Google that list. Here I uploaded Alex Hormozy, and yeah, the face, not great. It's really the outfit that was copied. Like I said, to get the face right, you have to do a lot of extra work. Pixel art, there's a lot of keywords and sort of cheat codes that I'll show you to get different art. But this is one, pixel art. This was actually a prompt that I copied. Interestingly enough, it looked entirely different from what that other person got. So maybe they used a different AI model, but it still looks very good, looks very real. But it's just interesting that it looked entirely different from what they got. Obviously, you can give it multiple sort of styles and it's going to stay true to that. floating island, illustration, 3D, megapixel, blue ice. Looks very cool. Sometimes it's going to include a watermark, not because Midjourney watermarks, but because it thinks watermarks should be on pictures. That's what it's used to seeing. Here's some website examples. I think the UI on some of these, as a website designer myself, I think it's awesome. I think these ones especially, these were some good ones. But yeah, the text completely off. Although I think later this year, there will be a mix between like text and images, and you'll see AI generated images of a website that are completely perfect. Cat on a kitchen counter, Picasso. And as you can see, because it's used to seeing signatures for Picasso, there's this little scribble, there's one. But again, well, this one doesn't have one, but this one does. So yeah, it's not his actual signature because, again, it doesn't know text. It can't comprehend text. It just knows what it looks like. Here's a nice keyword, 32-bit isometric. An old wizard with a red wizard hat looking into the camera. The wrinkles on this is insane. It makes you think that it's really a real person, but it's not. What I'm really impressed by is the lighting. Like this 1800 scientific photograph, look at the lighting on these. It looks, I know I keep saying it looks so real, but it just continuously shocks me. Interesting art styles like this double exposure of Milky Way and Lion. The Milky Way didn't do the best, but it does look unique for sure. Could look like a desktop wallpaper. Patchwork collage is another cool keyword you can use. Sometimes it gets things wrong, like tsunami about to hit Toronto. That's a tricky one. Angles are really important in an image like that. You have to get it not sky like facing Toronto, but sort of from the side. There's probably less images of Toronto like that, so it's just gave me big waves instead. If you give it too much action, like King Kong hanging on the CN Tower, it's not really going to do that. It will put King Kong around the skyline. But yeah, isometric illustration, that's another great keyword. Yeah, typography art, phantasmal iridescent, very interesting. Watercolor sketch, plasticine mansion, stained glass window of World of Warcraft, which is a very popular online game, and yeah, that does a really amazing job. It is a bit abstract. Diagrammatic drawing of a human, so looks real. Upon closer inspection, text is gibberish. If anyone's unsure about if this is really AI generated or if it just steals images from online, I think this sort of proves it. There's no image like this online, just complete gibberish. But it knows exactly what it should look like, and it gets the human anatomy. Well, I'm not a doctor, but it looks very detailed and right to me. Like the muscles, like right there, the shoulder, calves, but more advanced stuff like I guess tendons and joints. It looks very real to me. Ukiyo-e art, that's a more like Japanese style. You can have it do ukiyo-e art of anything. In this case, I gave it a knight, which is basically a samurai. Paper quilling, I think this is pretty cool. Paper quilling. Synthwave is the style where it's like purple and pink and reminds you of Miami. 16-bit. This was actually done by, it was a different setting where it's lower quality. This one was higher quality. And wow, it looks very cool. 32-bit isometric gives you this nice like square room. Sometimes like plasticine, it got the plasticine mansion right, but iPhone, not really. Got a bit confused. Beautiful Woman by Joseph Sudek, sort of an older style of artist, black and white. So, okay, one of the last ones. A beautiful 3-story wooden house with a garden full of flowers next to a river in Switzerland with mountains in the background. Look at that. Looks so real. Baby rabbit as Harry Potter. A baby is Harry Potter. Insanely cute. And then I gave it an image of me. And then baby is Harry Potter. Looks a bit off because babies should not have facial hair, right? Or more developed jaws. So what I did was I gave it a smaller image weight, 0.75. That's since IW's image weight. Now this looks more like a baby, like especially this one. Vaguely resembles me. You could like look at this baby and be like, okay, he's my son. But actually looks normal. So sometimes you got to play around with the image weight. It does logos very well, but just not the text on the logo. Different styles, very cool. Don't ask it to do too much, like this, a friendly shark eating fries. Yeah, I don't know what this is, but it's not fries. It's eating something. But I got some really cool logos later on, like this. And then you can click one of these. These stand for variants. So V4, you're asking it for more variants of this one. So that's what I did. And I got these. So, yeah. Okay, Angry Kitten. It is surprisingly good at emotions. Look at that. A lot of this cat stuff is because my girlfriend loves cats. And wow, Angry Kitten on tricycle. Like, could anyone look at this and know for sure it's fake? I wouldn't really. Like, maybe if only the fact that it just looks too perfect. But there are some really good photographers out there that can get really perfect photos. So, yeah. Yeah. Just a lot of cats. Oh, sometimes you'll confuse it. You say a couple of century apart. It has no clue what that means. I don't really know what it means either. Maybe a couple that's 100-year age difference, but I don't know how that would be possible. So instead, if it gets too confused, it's just going to give like a couple a century old. It's sort of going to ignore. It's going to give you the best thing it can think of that's still realistic. Yeah. Okay, hopefully you got some inspiration, and I will be uploading a video soon on how you can use Midjourney and how to use advanced prompting techniques to get some really cool looking stuff. Okay, see you later. Bye.